Hello malt friends, and welcome to my newest whiskey review, where I am going to review a whiskey from one of my favorite distilleries, from Kilchoman Distillery. This is a very special bottling because it's a single cask whiskey, and today I am going to tell you some fun facts about single cask whiskeys and what you have to know about this topic. So now I just poured here a dram and I'm going to wait a couple of minutes just to let it sit a bit, to breathe, let it breathe a bit, and yeah. So last time I talked about the cask strength, or the ABV, the alcohol percentage in the whiskey, and today I'm going to talk about another pretty huge misconception, which is that all whiskeys are bottled from one single cask. This is rarely the case. So in 99.9% of the time, the whiskey is vatted. What this means is that before they bottle a whiskey, usually they create a batch. It's like, imagine like a huge container where you pour all of the casks that you want to bottle, you kind of mix them, you vat them or you blend them, and you bottle only afterwards. In case of a single cask, as the name suggests, the whiskey is bottled straight from one single cask, and then you can check which cask was that. Exactly. So when it comes to single cask whiskeys, you have to know that most of the time they are bottled at cask strength, so they are not diluting it back, which is very good in my opinion. Obviously some single cask whiskeys are also diluted back, but I never seen a single cask whiskey that was bottled at 40% ABV. And whether this is for beginners, not really. Why? Because Kilchoman, so I tried from this distillery several different bottlings, and I got to know the house style of the distillery, which is very important, because if you try a single cask whiskey, that's something very, very unique. So in that case, you get something very specific, a very specific expression from the distillery. And in this case, this is 9 years old whiskey that was first matured in fresh, so first fill ex-bourbon cask, so for more than 7 years, and then it was put into a fresh or first fill Madeira wine cask. So Madeira is fortified wine from Portugal. It's I believe that the Madeira casks work really well with whiskeys, and every kind of Madeira cask finish that I tried was absolutely fantastic. So I was really looking forward to buy this Kilchoman. What you have to know about this whiskey: so it was distilled in 2012 and bottled in this year, in 2021. This is the 79th cask from 2012, and from this Madeira cask they had 247 bottles, and this is the 49th bottle. So I got this. I was very lucky. As you can see, it has a very nice rich dark color, and the best thing is that this is natural color. Also, it is unchill filtered and bottled at cask strength, which in this case is 55.2%. So let me review this wonderful whiskey. So I talked about the appearance. So it's a very nice rich dark color. It is very oily. It's cask strength, so it looks very nice. If I nose it, wow, I can already smell from here. This is a fantastic bouquet once again. So this is very rich. It's wheat, and this sweetness is anything from fruity sweetness, but also there is like a honey sweetness into it. It's incredibly rich. No alcohol at all. It's absolutely insane. You cannot feel the alcohol, you cannot nose the alcohol, you cannot smell the alcohol at all. Also, Kilchoman has this very nice, fresh, citrusy, lemony style that I really like. Also, there's a maritime nose to it. So this iodine, fresh sea breed. Yeah, it's like you as you are on the coast, you know. It's lovely. Yeah, and it's a very clean nose, very nice barley sugars, malty tones. It's just a very warm and very friendly nose. So let me take a sip. It's very oily, it's full-bodied. The nose comes through, so there are these red fruits, also some orange, lemon, citrus notes, a lot of smoke. So this whiskey is heavily peated, by the way. I didn't mention. On the nose, I don't get that strong smokiness, but on the palate it's already there. Touch of bitterness, but that's by no means a bad thing. Salty, yes. Some fudge, yes. And it's very long. Now let me concentrate on the finish. So the finish is very warm, really rewarding. First, I get the sweetness, the berries, some fruitiness. Then there is kind of a leathery tone, or also like tobacco leaves. Touch of bitterness afterwards. So the wood influence is pretty strong here too. But it's incredibly long, it's very warm. There are no prickles. Yeah. And I think it has a very nice body. So I really enjoy this. I will add now a couple of drops of water because this is cask strength, and you know, with natural strength whiskeys you can always add some water because it will just open other layers. In the meantime, let me check whether I wanted to mention anything else. Yes, there is one more thing. So I mentioned you that this was first matured in ex-bourbon barrels and then put into Madeira wood, where it was matured for more than 2 years. You will often see that there is something called finish or double maturation. There are two things that you have to keep in mind. You can always add an additional cask, an additional finish to your whiskey, and it will make it most probably more complex. So in this case, after the ex-bourbon, which is a standard cask, they added to a more exotic cask. So from one cask, it was transferred to another cask before they bottled it. But there is also a double maturation possibility in which you just mature a whiskey in one single type of cask and you mature a whiskey in another type of cask, and before you bottle it, you blend it, you mix it together, okay? So that would be like as if they put the whiskey also to a Madeira wood, a Madeira cask, and the other one to a fresh bourbon barrel. And before they bottle, they just blend it together and they bottle it. It's two different things, okay? So keep this in mind. You always have to look specifically what kind of finish, or what does the double maturation mean, because it can be a finish, but it can be also a full maturation and then blending it together. And maybe one more thing. So usually the head distiller or the master distiller goes in and he knows that, okay, he or she knows that, okay, I want to, for my recipe, I will need 40 ex-bourbon barrels, 10 Oloroso sherry casks, and 5 more from, I don't know, some other type of cask. And every year they bottle this batch, okay? And this is how usually whiskey is bottled. This is what you usually get in the stores. If it's a single cask whiskey, that's very specific because they have to pick a cask that is very mature and it's ready to be bottled. Not every cask is the same. So there will be casks that where the maturation was less prominent and the whiskey is not that ready yet. And there will be whiskeys or casks, where the maturation takes place much faster and it just tastes better or it's more complex. And this is really the magic, where the magic happens, because the master distiller, the master blender really has to pick casks that fit well together, and you cannot really release a single cask that it's not ready yet or it's subpar. So it's very, very complex how maturation takes place. And yeah, this is something that many don't know, but now you know it. I hope I clarified this in a clear way. Now with some water, oh, it became fresher. It's sweet, but it's not overpowering sweet. There is a touch of smoke on the palate. Wow. So even though it was very palatable without water, I think the water opens up even more. It helps to deliver the aromas and flavors better. So this whiskey is absolutely stunning. If you want to try a Kilchoman, I really recommend their core range, so the Mahia Bay or the Sanaik. They are smoky, but I think if you like smoky whiskey, if you want to try smoky whiskey, you should try it. They are fairly young whiskies, but they are really honest. I think what the distillery does is absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, if you have questions, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned, because in 2 or 3 weeks I will release another whiskey review. Take care. Bye bye.